live again for a community update. Good evening, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for another community update. So what are we going to talk about tonight? And hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties and everybody can hear me out there. um, I've been getting a lot of calls this weekend from various folks that are not able to, they're having trouble trying to navigate around this new ClearGov budget template. And it is, it even has like some little quirky things that are happening in it too. If you try to get into it, um, it does something really strange. Sometimes it will skip you, like you'll click on one of the sections and the contents and like the table of contents, and it'll skip you down to something totally different. So I was just to get ready again for tomorrow's kickoff of the Hampden Town budget season, which will happen with the meeting that we're going to have tomorrow at 6 o'clock, in which we're going to invite everybody out to public comment. What we're going to do is I wanted to just show everybody on my computer and share my screen to show you how you can actually do a full review of the budget before tomorrow. So that way you can have, either you can take screenshots and take down notes if you have questions specifically. The way the council's rules are set up, we're not going to be able to respond. That's just how it works. But we want to make sure everybody gets their questions on record. So I'm going to go ahead and put all my comments up like I did before. Make sure everybody knows that your comments are going to be added to the video. So I want to also say that, let's see, let's go ahead and see if we can jump right in. I think I'm going to start where people will start, which will be going to the Town of Hampden's website. And what do you do when you get there? So let me share that screen first. All right, let's see. So when you go to the town's website, this is where if you put in right on the front page, it's going to tell you, go to the mayor's proposed budget fiscal year 2026. When you get down here, you see where it says URL. You want to be able to click here on the URL, which is going to bring you to the ClearGov budget. It's just that simple. There's no trying to find any PDF documents and trying to download anything. You just click right here and it'll bring you there. Now I'm going to get out of this and then go in because I have it open on another screen. So let me remove that. And let's go and let's share let's go share the screen where we go actually into the actual budget. All right, now this is what you're going to see when you click into the URL. When you click into the URL, you're going to land on the front cover page and it's going to look like this. It's going to have, the cover page, really nice picture, Town of Hampden, Mayor's recommended budget, fiscal year 25-26. Once you get there, you're at the right spot, okay? Some people were getting to the old budgets, 25. I wasn't even kind of sure how they got there. So I was like, okay, if you see this screen, you're on the right track. All right. Now over here to the left is the table of contents. And you see here, there's like a little slider where you can slide down and see all of the things. These are all the parts of the table of contents. Some of the things, it depends on what you're looking for. I'm recommending everybody go through it entirely and click on each item and it'll bring up another section. So I just clicked on just a budget overview. This is just the total budget. The total revenue are going to be equal to the total expenditures. It tells you, we can have a little slider here. It'll tell you exactly, what happened in fiscal year 25, fiscal year 26, and the change between the 2 years in the revenue. And then it goes there. You're going to take this little slider over here, slide down to the expenditures. You'll be able to now see what are the proposed expenditures for each department. And as you can see, in fiscal year 25, it was 299 million. In fiscal year 26, it's being increased to 313 million with an increase of 14,504,881. Okay, so that's just your overview. It's a snapshot of the whole budget. The next one, you go to the next, click to the next table of contents. Now you get a historical revenue summary. You get a whole summary of what happened. These are just kind of like little charts here that say in 2020 it was 229 million. Now we're up to 314 million. Okay. And it also gives you color coding of each department. Then you slide down here again, just keep scrolling right on down and you'll see what this 314 million proposed number, what it makes up in each department. Okay. And then you scroll down even more. This is the next portion of it that shows you the fiscal year, the current budget that we're in now, and the budget that is being proposed, and then the change between budget on budget. Okay, not budget on actual, but budget on budget. So if you see the tax office, which is where we collect taxes, this item here is 248 million is being asked in 2026. 225 million is what was asked in 2025. That's the current budget that we're in. That's a 10.36% budget increase. And I know that's the one that I know people were trying to see what the difference was between this budget year and tax ask in last year. And there it is right here. We go down, we also see, we're not getting that much more from the state of Connecticut for the BOE and state of Connecticut in general. And I don't know if you all just heard, I just saw an article today that the state of Connecticut is going to be receiving less money from the federal government with regard to Board of Ed funding. So this number may end up being less. We don't know as far as revenue, but we'll wait and see. So overall, down here, the total revenues are going from 299 million to 313 million. And it's overall, in general, a 4.8% increase. Okay. Next item, you can go down here to 2.3. Now you go back over here, you click on the content, the table of contents over here, and it brings up another page. This gives us a whole list of all the expenditures that make up the 313 million. Okay. So you have Board of Education is 101 million, 57 million, 834 is medical insurance for the BOE, pensions for the town and BOE's 36 million. These are the highest cost centers for the town. Debt service is the fourth highest cost center for the town at 31 million, 19 million. The police department is the fifth highest cost center for the town, and on and on. We have Public Works, which is 14 million, fringe benefits for the town employees, 6 million in finance. Purchasing has 5.7 million, all the way down to the bottom where you're going to see that they're requesting $6,000 in review of assets. Let me throw this question up here. I just had a question come up from Grace. Now let me just read it. She says, people would like you to explain why comparing budget to budget is an issue versus budget to actual. Well, let me go back up here one more. Let's go back up. Okay. All right. Let's go back. Let me go back to budget overview. Let's just hang back over there real quick. Budget, see revenue analysis. Let's see if I can get back to it and I can show you what I'm talking about. Expenditure analysis. All right, let me just tell you the reason why comparing budget to budget is problematic, because if you'll see here, our fiscal year, the fiscal year 25 that they're reporting is 23,227,000. I believe that's through March. That's through now. But the budget from 2025 said 30 million was what we were going to spend for the year. So that's about $7 million off from what we even budgeted this year. So if you see here, the percentage is fiscal year budget 2024, 2025, as compared to fiscal year budget 2025 to 26, right? if you take these two numbers, the actual that you spent versus what you're budgeting in 2026, it's a lot more than 3%. So my argument is the same thing with legislative council. Now you can see the two budget numbers, 24 to 25 is 750,000 as compared to 939, an increase in budget 2026. But look at what was spent. Only $120,000 has been spent in 2025. So why would we need to raise this from what we actually spent at 120,000 to 939? I know we budgeted 754, but we're increasing on budget, not on actual. That can lead to be somewhat problematic, I would think, because so this is a significant difference between 120,000 and fiscal year actual versus budget ask for 2026. And as you can see, there's a trend of that happens all the way through the comparison between actual and fiscal year budget ask. Registrar of Voters actual was 185,053 in 2025, which is where we are again now. But the budget ask is 604,000. That's a big jump from not a 27% jump. That's like a several 100% jump. So that's why usually, if you just were to cut out this column entirely, then this is what these two, this is the comparison against these two items, these two columns. But when you take into consideration what we actually spending, what are we actually spending? Well, the tax office is actually spent in fiscal year 25, $120,000. So why do they need to budget 324? They budgeted 315. They didn't spend even close to that. So why are we even increasing what we spent in 2025? We didn't even spend it yet. Based on what's right here on this one summary page, everything in this column is going to be a surplus. Purchasing 1.5 million was 2025 actual. That's now. 2025 budget was 5.1 million. And even if this is through March, it's still not close to 5.192 million. So when you see this percentage is fiscal year town budget versus fiscal year town budget 25 versus 26. That does compare these two columns. But what about the actual? This is what we're actually spending, right? So Public Works actually only spent $5.4 million according to the 2025 actual column. But they're asking for 14 million. That's $7 million. I mean, that's actually more than 7. That's like, $8 million more than what we are actually spending in Public Works. So either this number here, this fiscal year 25 actual number is wrong or way off. But when you compare the budget to budget, it's only a 4% increase. But if you compare actual to budget, it's a lot more than 4%. A lot more. So that's, Grace, is why it is problematic to compare budget to budget, because we don't know what we're actually spending. Engineering department, $275,000. We budgeted 740. They didn't spend close to that. But 861, they're asking for more than what they asked in 2025, but didn't spend it. So that's what we have to look at. When you really want to drill into it, you really want to drill in and find out, why did we only spend 275 in the engineering department, budgeted 740, and now increasing our budget amount to 861? I would think that the town's administration would have to demonstrate the need or additional activities that are going to happen outside of the 275 that they're reporting for the fiscal year 25. So you go down here to Board of Education. Now, I know this number, it can absolutely not be correct. This is 26 million for all of the year for fiscal year 25 for the Board of Ed, when we asked for 97 million. It's like $70 million off. It just makes it a little problematic to look at the total expenditures for 2025 and say 124 million is all we spent in 2025. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that number, because I think that we probably spent close to 299 million and not the 124. So that's why when you only look budget to budget and you don't consider any type of of um actuals, it makes it problematic. So if I go down to the next item, now this is a total of each department. So, but if you scroll down more, this is where everybody was getting confused when they were calling. They're like, I want to see what's actually spent in each department. Now, if we go back over to the table of contents, we have to scroll back down here, go to departments where it says 2.6 departments. All right. I'm going to put up the next comment. Let's see. Okay, so do these numbers include data up to March? Given our 4 to 6 month audit delay, could some figures still be missing? How can we budget effectively without up-to-date numbers? Well, I think it's pretty clear. This 124 million for fiscal year 25 can't possibly include everything. I know we're going to spend more than $26 million on our Board of Education. I mean, that just goes without saying. I can't imagine that we're going to spend for fringe benefits. You know, those are usually your OPEB benefits and things. 1.9 million for the whole year, but we budgeted 6. So this is why when you want to look at a budget, you really want to drill in and just try to see, make sure that it looks like the numbers are correct. I think that this 124 million, in my opinion, it looks like it's not complete. It goes back to the argument that this budget that was submitted probably is not complete because it looks like it's missing information completely. The next item, let's go down to some of the departments. Let's go down to animal control. Let me take that comment back off and let's go back. So I don't want anybody to miss anything. First part that you're going to see is going to be the mission statement, and you'll be able to read all the narrative and the goals and the objectives of the department and the budget highlights. Then you see down here, there's this little, you see how these 2 boxes are lighting up? This is another area where people getting confused. They were like, how do I get to the numbers portion? Now, all you do is you just hit this little caret to the right, and it brings you to the revenue and expenditures for the animal control department. All right, don't scroll down because you're going to get to the assessors. You're going to miss it. You just have to go down here and scroll to the caret to the right, and that will give you this over. It'll give you the actual animal control revenue, and it'll give you the expenditures. All right. So the revenues here is actual, let's see, $3,200. Go always scroll down on the right-hand side. It'll give you some narrative. Now the total, you can look at some of these expenses. Look at the top here. Now this is fiscal year town budget 25. This is the 25 projected. This is what they think that they're going to spend through the end of this year. This one, they're going to spend 28,500. They're budgeting 28,500, even though it's just cut off. In overtime, we think we're going to spend 1,000 for the rest of the year. They're asking for 1,000. That's right on point. It's exactly where we are with our actuals. You think you're going to spend 1,400, but they're going to keep it at 1,400, even though this number right here represents the department's ask. You know, we are over here. Let's see, projected again. Let's go back to the projected column. Let's go back down. They're projecting 44,800. But this is the year now, right to the left of the projected column is the through March. This is what we've spent through March. So on this one, we've only spent $15,000 in overtime through March, but we're still asking for 28,500. That would be high in my book. If you go over here to the 26,000 that we spent in land and rental buildings, but we're asking for 44. We didn't spend the 44 we already have. We're asking for it, even though we only spent 26,000 through March. Remember, through March means that we only have 3 more months left in the fiscal year: April, May, and June. So that means that this line item, they are expecting to spend more, a lot more, to get to the $44,000 by June. So in total, we only spent $123,000 in this line item through March. The let's see, the total expenditures, the department is asking for 248,000. The mayor is requesting 199, even though we only spent 123,000 through March. Okay. We go back and we look at previous years. We spent 120, 171, 138. This is what we spent. So we have not spent 199 yet. We didn't spend it in this year. All right. Let's go down to the next one. Let's go down to the Board of Education. That's a big one. Let's look at that one. Again, the first part represents the narrative, which really is not a lot of narrative in this one. But let's go over to the actual proposed revenue. Again, go down to the little box here. You see the little box? We want to go to this little box here and hit the caret to the right, and that will bring you to the revenue and the expenses. Okay. So this is the Board of Ed. This is the revenue they're projecting. They're projecting total revenues of, not too sure. There's nothing in here, so I'm not too sure what that means, but there's no revenues in there for the Board of Ed. Let's scroll down to the expenditures. Well, the expenditures are, oh, sorry. There it is. Let's see. No, this is the 5-year actual. Still don't understand what the revenues are for this year because the Board of Ed doesn't have anything here in the revenues column. So not too sure what that means, but we go down here to fiscal year through March. They spent 74 million. And the total ask this year is 101. They spent 74. They're projecting to spend their whole 97 million that was allotted to them through the current budget. And that's that. Okay. And then this gives you the 5-year actual. So you started at 89 million in 2020, and you're ending up right now at 101 million. All right. That's the Board of Education. Let's go down to, let's see, Cultural Affairs. Mission statement. I encourage everybody to read this. It's a really great read. Just this gives you an understanding of why they need the money, what the funds are going to be used for, and such. So you go down, you just scroll over again, you hit that little caret that brings you to the next column, the next item on that, and this for the Cultural Affairs and Human Services. So the next item is, these are the revenues. They're going to make their actual, they're going to maybe make about 8,000. That's pretty close to what their actual looks like it's been. Their ask for this department is, let's scroll down to the bottom, is, let's keep going. They're asking for 1.8 million for cultural affairs and human services. All right, so let's go and look at some of these items. When I just want to, again, download my brain and get everybody to understand kind of what I see when I look at this. All right. See a lot of blank spaces. That's always a problem when you look at a budget and there's not either, like, if it's 0, put a 0 in, but if it's just blanks, like this is all the salaries, which are blank. Don't know what the historicals are on the current budget. I mean, I can go look in the old budget book and pull it out, and which is what I'm going to have to walk with so I can see the historical information. We have temporary wages, which go to town programs and things. So there's temporary wages. They are through March is only 15,978, but they're asking for 23. They asked for 20 the year before. They never spent it. So same thing with this one. through March is 3,000. You're asking for 7, but you never spent the 7. Um, family relocations, you're asking for only spent 60, but you're asking for 100. You asked for 100 before, but you didn't spend it. It's $40,000 difference that just didn't get spent in the actual, but we're still continuing to ask for the same 100,000. Here's another one: eviction costs. We asked for 36,000. We only spent 10, but we're still asking for the same 36,000. So just look at those items. You can go through here. It's all pretty much laid out. Um, Same item. We just keep going. Let's go down to the bottom and let's see what we can find here in, again, here's another large variance where we asked for 75 and 25, got 37, spent 37,500 through March, but still asking for the same 75 again. So just keep looking at that. I mean, you can do a little tally. I mean, this one, they asked for 71, they only spent 23,000, but they're asking for 83,000. All right. So this is where we go down to the bottom. Let's see if we go all the way to the bottom. So the total is, we ask the through March was 1,070,000, but we're asking for 1.8 million. We asked for 1.7. We only spent 1,070,000. So those are, I'm just encouraging everybody to go just drill down. I'm showing everyone. I want to make sure everybody understands how to drill in and see, compare the fiscal year actual, and then go back and even look at some of your 5-year actuals and see what we spent there in previous years. All right, so we go down to the next one, economic and community development. Here's another one with the mission statement and all that great stuff. Read that information. That's a great narrative. Click on the caret below. It'll bring you to the information. Let's see. I think I would see. If you keep clicking, you'll just go too far, like I just did. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's go back. Let's go back. All right. Let's keep going. See if we can get to, okay, here we go. So Economic and Community Development Department, they're looking at the year-to-date through March salaries of 217,000, but they're asking for 437. So that's, we had a lot of vacancies in that department, so that probably explains that variance. There is a mistake. I think this is a mistake because they have it down as a community and economic development director earned 437,536. Well, that wouldn't be correct because I don't think that position was allotted that amount of money. So I think this is an error, but that would need to be asked of Mayor Garrett. Professional technology. We asked for 30,000. We only spent 6,500, but we're asking for 120,000. That's a huge jump from what the actual was. I want to make sure everybody knows, always look at your actuals. Always look at the actuals because the actuals are what we're actually spending. So look at the actuals. It's always helpful. See, this here, the actual for this department was 243,000 through March, but the ask looks like it is 455,000. So it's about $200,000 more than what we spent. Can they justify it? I don't know because there's a lot of blank spaces here. One thing I want to point out here, and as I wrap this up, I want to go down to the bottom and show some more things. I don't want to keep anybody too much longer. We spent $30,000 fiscal year projected. We're projected to spend $30,000 on the Hamden Economic Development Corporation. I'm going to send an email and ask, why are we projected to spend that type of money in 2025? I mean, I thought that our arrangements with HEDC were over. I didn't know that we're still projected to give them money. There must be some sort of contractual arrangement that we still have available. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to definitely ask about that. So if you can go through and look at all these items, go back over to the left and you can click on every one. And again, you want to click on the little arrow, read the narrative first, click the arrow, go over and see what happened, you know. And if you go down, it's a little strange. You have to go all the way down here to actually scroll over so you don't get the area that's cut off. But in the mayor's office, even here, this is like the year-to-date actual through March is 383,000, but the ask is 551. That's a lot more money than what we've spent. So it's just something to look at. Now, if you scroll down, some of the things, there's a human resources 2.7. This was another question people were asking me. What are the salaries? Well, you have the salaries up here, which are the salaries of people who are under contract, under a union contract. They have a contracted salary amount. All right, these are usually the contracted people. And they also include some non-contracted people. So the non-contracted people are found in 2.7. So if you click on that, it brings you down to another spreadsheet. And the first spreadsheet is the employee inquiry. All right. So over here, you're going to see this is the list of the people. It has their pay rate, their annual pay, and all that. That's what they're currently getting. Come on. And then we go down, you scroll down a little bit more and you go to salary trends. It tells you what the trend is. Again, this little slider is a little strange because you're got some things over here, but it'll give you this slide. It doesn't list anyone's name. It just lists them by department. So the town attorney, this is her salary for 2020, 2021 salary for, this was the pay. These are the trends. Okay. And if you take it and click on a box and then you hit your little arrow on your computer to the right, you can scroll over and see the one of the things that was another question were, what are these stipends? I think there's an explanation of the stipends next to it. But it, like, again, this is a really hard thing to, you have to click in the box, then take your little arrow on your computer and scroll back to see who this is. So the director of grants and capital projects, economic development department, the salary was 75,000. They're asking to go, I guess, to 70. The trend has been to go to 78. And then on top of the 78, they get a $50,000 stipend from $25,000 from the CDBG, was supposed to be CDBG grant, and 25,000 from the ARPA grant. So that person gets 78,000 plus another $50,000 in stipends. I'm not too sure how that works. And the explanation is this for managing the CDBG and ARPA grants. Okay, so that's that. So we scroll down. Now this is the proposed 25-26 salaries. So we have the building official, the chief of staff. So you click in the box. You see how the little box turns green for the fire chief? Then you scroll over and you can see what the ranges are. So the fire chief could be from 130 to 145, proposed increase of $4,087. And the salary would go, the proposed salary for this position is 139. So you scroll back. It's currently 134. The ask is going to 139. It's a 3% increase. All right. All right. You just scroll all the way over. And this way you can get all the narrative. Now, I think there's some of these are bolded out. I mean, I'm going to go on some of the bold ones because I think they're bolded for maybe a reason. Let's see. The engineering department and the engineering director his salary now is 140. That includes $30,000 for it says ARPA, but 15,000 doesn't explain what that is. The stipend notes are for traffic administration and large ARPA projects. So the new range in this new year would be 143,546 through 155,952. So this proposed increase would be $34,445 with a proposed salary of $174,445. So that position would go from 140,000 to 174,445. So you can do your own analysis down here in this section here, but I just encourage you to just scroll down, get into a box, highlight it, put your little clicker on it and highlight it. Then you can take your little arrow left and arrow right on your computer and scroll between the two. All right. All right. So I hope this is helpful. I always encourage everybody, go back to your left-hand column. This is the capital projects. You can click on that. It'll give you this. And again, it'll give you a narrative that you can read through and gives you all sorts of great explanation as to construction maintenance, total budgeted for all the years, project totals, giving you a project budget and how many years they plan on it's going to take. This project for construction maintenance costs, and they're explaining it to replace existing traffic signal equipment. $75,000 capital cost in 26. Total budget is 475. They expect to spread that over the course of 5 years. All right. So I hope this was helpful. I don't want to go on any further because we're way over our 30 minutes. But I wanted to make sure all the people who were asking me questions on how do I get to the budget, how do I find the salaries, how do I find, how do I look at it? I'm encouraging everybody to look at it from actual versus 2026 budget. Budget on budget, as you can see, are basically the same or pretty much darn close. Really, we want to examine the actual expenses. What are we actually spending? And if we didn't spend, close to the full amount in the previous year, then it may be justification for saying we don't really need to continue to fund that specific line item at that high rate. So I hope this was helpful. And I will put this on our YouTube channel. Feel free to share the link. I'm going to share the link out to various people in the community so they can understand and maybe listen to this between today and tomorrow's meeting. And then you can go through the budget just like we just did and compile the questions that you might have or the comments you have for our kickoff meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the Hamden Town Hall. Please try to get there early. I expect that there's going to be a very large crowd and there's probably going to be a sign-in sheet to get on the list to speak. So you want to get there as early as you can so you can get on that list as early as you can so that you don't have to be there too late, being able to share your public comment. Thank you so much. I will continue as we go through the budget period. I'll be doing this maybe 15, 30-minute clips each night after just to explain what we went through, put it up on the screen, and then everyone will be able to follow along with our budget process this year. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome and safe evening.